everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, September 12th, 2021. So, Billy can't find no birth certificate for Ashland Locke, and can't find no death certificate for Ashland's parents. Oh, this can only mean one thing. Ashland Locke isn't his real name because he is Tara's brother. Dun 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 dun. They were never married, Tara and Ashland. Harrison is just Ashland's nephew, and when the plan didn't work out to fleece the Abbotts, well, then the plan shifted over to the Newmans, and now Ashland is planning to kill Victoria to gobble up the whole of Newman Enterprises. And Ashland thinks that by buddying up to Nate, that he is going to mist me by giving Nate so much extra screen time, and it's going to make me not figure this whole thing out. Well, no dice, Ashland. Nate can eat all the pasta in Italy, and I'm going to eat a hole straight through your dastardly plan. Yeah! Ashland and Tara are a brother-sister con artist team, hungrily gobbling up anything and anyone they can. Wouldn't that be a good twist? Well, forget it! It's not gonna happen. The good twists only happen on Y&R Chat. Woo! But when I saw that text message come through to Ashland's phone saying, "You're a hard man to keep track of," I immediately thought, gasp, it's Tara. And then, gasp, she's his sister. Oh, probably not. Probably, definitely not. But I do think that Y&R has decided to sweep any crumbs that are left over from Tara's old story right on over to Ashland. I mean, remember Tara saying that her parents were dead, and we were all spinning theories about that, whether or not she killed them. And then what's the deal with Tara's brother? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it was that Y&R was planning to do with Tara, I think they're now just going to have Ashland do it in October. Oh, Ashland is a billionaire now, but he wasn't always a billionaire. The question on Billy's mind this week is, where did Ashland get the money to buy his first two companies after the old mentor died? I mean, Ashland was just starting out. How would he come up with that much cash? Okay, chatters, so we've got dead lady with the rich husband, no death certificates for the parents, no birth certificate for him, mystery money to buy the first companies. Those are our clues. Chew with them what you will. Victor has all the same questions as Billy does, but Victor doesn't want to work with Billy to get some answers, so he decides to ask Nick to become a double agent, like play friendly with the opposition to get his info. Yeah, I guess. Or we could all just work together to try to find out if this guy who's marrying Victoria is dangerous. But nah, let's play games instead. It's more fun that way. And yeah, like Victoria knows that all of this is going on too. She's just kind of quietly knowing that there's many investigations going on behind her back. And she does ask Ashland this week to come clean. If there's anything that these investigations are going to uncover, just tell me now. But he insists he's never done anything illegal. I'm sure that's true. Man, I have so totally been enjoying Ashland and Victoria's romance. I hope that it doesn't get blown to pieces over some embezzling BS like what went down with Tara. I would almost rather see Ashland go completely crazy. Like, start having conversations with Victoria's oil portrait. Oh, that's right, Chatters! We have a new oil portrait in his house. Holy cow, the boys down at the photo mat did an outstanding job with that one. What a likeness! I am loving it. Maybe for the Newman Enterprises Christmas party this year, we could pull Victor's portrait out of the boardroom and then set Victor's portrait side by side with Victoria's portrait and then spin all the employees around and play pin the mustache on the CEO. Ashland was so grateful to Nate for putting a coaster under his glass of water that he made a huge donation to the surgery wing at Genoa City Memorial Hospital. Wow! I don't know how big that check was, but I think it also bought Ashland a best man for his wedding, too! Throw in a best man and we have a deal. All right. Hey, I loved the Ashland, Victoria, Nate, Elena double date. It was good for both couples. I mean, sure, it was probably designed as a way to get some attendees for this wedding, but I really liked how Ashland described his life and the way that he has worked so hard in a certain way that most of his acquaintances are business colleagues. He doesn't have a lot of friends, and especially now, everyone treats him like he's made of glass. So Nate, being a doctor and having experienced some loss of his own with his fiance, Nate doesn't treat Ashland that way. And I just felt like those two had an instant bro bond between them that I really liked and appreciated. Unless there's some specific reason that Ashland suddenly and specifically wants to have a doctor for a best friend. If everything's on the surface and on the up and up, I'm good with it, unless there's an ulterior motive, and then I'm not good with Ashland using Nate. I want to be the only one to use Nate. But I thought that was so good and so satisfying. Even Elena and Victoria hit it off. Who knew they were both into cooking podcasts? Wow. I used to have way more time to listen to podcasts, but I've never even heard of a cooking podcast. It's interesting because that seems like such a visual thing. I should definitely check that out. Hey, if a cooking podcast can help elevate Victoria's grilled cheese sandwiches, then maybe it can do the same for me. Elena and Victoria, it's such an odd pairing that it kind of works for me, because Elena is so girl next door friendly, whereas Victoria is the princess in the castle next door, daughter of a billionaire. her whole life, completely knew it growing up, never wanted for anything, but Victoria still works hard anyway. I mean, and so does Elena. So in a way, these two could work as friends. They have some things in common. I'm thinking maybe Victoria can invite Elena over to her house some night for some margaritas, and then together they can not think that they killed someone together. Elena officially signs her Chance Com contract, but tells Lily about Newman Media's lucrative offer. And Lily was livid that Newman Media was trying to poach her employee. This means war! But first, girl time. I thought that was kind of fun. Lily and Elena just having coffee and being nice girls. It was very relaxing on the eve of a very stressful week for me. Lily was just talking a little bit about her station in life, and she was appreciating Elena and the role that she has played in the family, kind of bringing Devon and Nate back together oddly. It all kind of worked out for the Winters family. In other Winters family news, Moses is sticking around. Sophia has tentatively agreed to let Moses take an internship at Hamilton Winters, but really we know that there's more in Genoa City for Moses than just a job. I actually don't think that Faith would allow Moses off his leash long enough to go back to New York. My goodness. I did laugh at their little role-playing game where Faith was making Moses call her on the phone to ask permission to stay in town, and Faith was pretending to be his mom, you know, for practice. But I kept thinking, this girl might really want to be his mom. She is bossy. She's a really bossy girl. But it's kind of realistic in a boy-girl way. I think a lot of girls are really like that. A lot of girls are bossy, and they are bossy to the boys. And I think there are a lot of very nice, patient young men like Moses out there. So I gotta give Moses credit for being willing to play along. Abby brings Dominic back to the Chancellor Mansion for a big blue homecoming party with big sloppy blue cupcakes, which I'm assuming Sharon whipped up in the kitchen herself. Back in the back room of Crimson Lights. Oh, it was streamers and flowers and presents, and everyone was happy except Mariah. Mariah admitted that she is still feeling fearful that Stitch could come back, and we saw in the previews that she's going to be feeling that way next week too. But also she told Tessa that she's having a hard time letting go. She needed Bowie, Dominic, and she feels that he needs her too. So Mariah leaves the party early. Tessa did a good thing, sensing that Mariah just needed to get out of there, but it doesn't really even matter where Mariah goes. Everywhere she goes, she's tapped into motherhood, and she's watching the mothers and the babies of the world together. They're together while she is separate, and she feels further and further separated, like she's sneaking in every moment she can with the baby that she doesn't want to let go of. Really nice moment at the end of Tuesday's show where I believe Mariah was humming Tessa's lullaby to Dominic. Oh, I thought that was just really great and moving and emotional. And of course, Abby was standing in the background, holding the burping cloth, looking concerned. Looking concerned is going to become Abby's go-to face over the next couple of weeks. We're going to see a whole lot of Abby looking concerned face. Because there was another very classic soap opera moment, I think it was the following day on Wednesday, where Abby was standing just outside the door looking concerned while Mariah was talking to Devon about, quote, this motherhood thing. We had an incident this week. Something happened. Abby needed to go to work. Mariah offered to watch the baby. Abby reluctantly agreed, went to work, didn't even stay very long. By the time she got back, Mariah and the baby were gone. Missing again. Or they just went out for a walk because Mariah was trying to calm the baby down. I don't know. I think Abby was justified in being freaked out. Mariah and the baby just got back from being kidnapped for 3 weeks. Can you even believe that Abby freaking had the nerve this week to call it 3 weeks? She said Mariah and the baby had been kidnapped for 3 weeks. It was like 6 weeks, Abby, and it felt like 6 years. I felt every single moment of that kidnapping, and it wasn't no 3 weeks. 6. It was 6. We now officially know that soap opera time is double real time. What happened to the days where Josh Griffith was saying he wanted every episode to be 1 day? Now it's every episode is 2 days. We slowed it up. But Mariah's okay. Everything's okay, and that's what's important. I'm glad that Mariah is okay. I don't blame Abby for being worried about them. I think everyone is still recovering from everything emotionally. And it's like the lines of communication are very open between Mariah and Devon, and Abby and Devon. But the lines of communication between Abby and Mariah have become very, very gummed up. It's all very blurry. These two are kind of clashing whether they realize it or not. And this week, Sharon encouraged Mariah to talk to Abby about what she's been feeling. And this week also, we know that Abby told Devon that she can feel that Mariah is feeling some kind of way. So, I don't know. Maybe these two do need to talk. I mean, what harm could possibly come from being open and honest about it all? Devon opened up to Lily about his feelings this week. Something I hadn't really thought too much about. If life had worked out differently for Devon and Hillary, then Devon would have potentially a son or daughter running around that condo right now. And instead, he has a son, question mark, who's not really a son, but still kind of is. It's blurry, and it's totally understandable why Devon would be struggling with it, especially while he is trying to repress his resentment that there is no father around that he could just pass over the reins to. Devon reports to us this week that Chance has gone even deeper undercover. First of all, they already said this. We already got the he's going deeper undercover line like 3 weeks ago. But can you even believe that Y&R has the guts to say that to us? After 7 months of waiting and wondering and being strung along on this story, while knowing that Chance's absence is entirely about whatever drama was going on behind the scenes on their end. Everybody knows this needs to be addressed. Last week I asked asked you guys, the chance issue. Do we just bring him back or do we get rid of him? I mean, I'm surprised 58% of you chose that you wanted to bring him back. 42% say just get rid of him. Nonetheless, everybody knows we need to do something about this. Why continue to make the viewers suffer because of their back-end drama? It's ridiculous. Nobody is buying Chance's undercover mission. What are they dragging this out for? Okay, I'm officially in on Adam and Sally. Yay! Phew! I gotta tell you, I was starting to get worried that I was not going to be able to feel the fire between these two. But I genuinely did feel it this week. I got it. I got what everybody has been clamoring about for like 2 to 3 weeks now. I finally got there and I didn't have to try very hard. It was Victor summoning her to the ranch, pressuring her not to use his son to help further her career, and then Adam walking in on the middle of it and saying, did I miss a memo about a meeting? I was like, yes, finally, forbidden. Ooh, forbidden. That works every time. And then OMG, Sally goes back to society after that incident to drink some less expensive whiskey or scotch or whatever it was than what Victor gave her. Side note, I just have to say I appreciate that Sally asked for the good stuff. She goes out to the ranch. She probably knows what she's there for. And so she says, forget it. I'm going to at least ask. When Victor offers her a drink, she at least asks for the good stuff. If he's going to rip me a new one, I might as well at least drink the good stuff while he's doing it. But as Sally is sitting at the bar, stewing on everything that Victor just said to her, she imagines that she turns around and Adam is standing behind her and he just plants this big, passionate kiss on her. And then she imagines that he takes her back to the Grand Phoenix. I don't know why they would go there, but those two got hot and heavy like they were two pieces of meat. Just smacking against each other. I loved it. I was happy. I said, okay, now we're talking. There was passion, there was peril, there was push, there was pull, and it pulled me right into it. Ooh. Yay! Yay! It also helped that Adam and Sally did sit down together away from the office. They were at society in that back area that we almost never see. It was just a few feet away from where Adam and Sharon kissed, and it all got caught on, I guess, Jordan's phone camera. But Sally and Adam just sat down and chatted and just got to know each other comfortably. And I liked that there was no agendas. It was just two people talking. And I thought that was really good. And Sally had this really great line saying, oh, you're not the first SOB that I've met. That's SOB, son of a billionaire. And not only that, but son of a billionaire who didn't know that he was a son of a billionaire growing up. I liked that. That was clever. And to think that whole incident never almost happened. Chloe tells Sally that Connor still thinks his parents are together, boo-hoo-hoo. So Sally tells Adam that they better just hit the reset button and not go on any dates, which ultimately really helped take the pressure off of their date that they had, like, literally the next episode. But all I could think was, wait a minute. Connor still thinks his parents are together? I'm sorry, it is time to wise this kid up. Connor was the reason that Chelsea and Adam got back together and stayed together too long. Enough is enough. We cannot let Connor stand in the way of Adam getting laid, friends. Oh, Connor. Oh, little Connor. Oh, Ray stops by Adam's office this week to return Connor's hat. And Ray senses that the boy needs to be talked to about what's going on with his parents. I'm not telling you how to handle your business. I'm just telling you it needs to be handled, Ray says. So, naturally, Adam goes to Sharon for advice. As Connor's former therapist, though. Just need some advice on how to talk to Connor. But Adam got an earful from Mariah when he walked through the door. Mariah is not keen on former baby nappers these days. She was not having it. It got ugly. And after that incident, Sharon, on Friday, felt the need to make her first official stop to the Newman media offices to apologize to Adam about all of that. And I'm sure that the fact that Nick had just told Sharon that Adam is now dating Sally had absolutely nothing to do with it. Well, sure enough, Sally comes around the corner. She overhears them talking. She gets jealous, and she butts right into the middle of their conversation to put an end to it. And I must say, I was even further impressed by the Adam and Sally pairing after Sharon left, when Sally tried apologizing for interrupting them, saying, "Oops, I accidentally interrupted." And Adam said, "No, you didn't. I saw you eavesdropping outside the door, and I don't find it amusing. I was having a private conversation about my son with the door open, but I am not playing this game." I thought that was awesome. It actually convinced me further that these two could have met their match. Sally just tried one of her old tricks on Adam that many other men would have just fallen for, but Adam saw right through it immediately, and he called her out. He did not let her get away with it. That was cool. And now I would really like to see the same thing in reverse. I think it would be doubly cool if now Adam tries to pull a little something and Sally calls him out. Or maybe Adam and Sally can both work together when the Ashland situation explodes, because Sally could have an inside track on Tara, and Adam could help bust Tara's brother, Ashland. Jack and Lauren sharing Chinese takeout at the Abbott Mansion this week. Here you go, Lauren. Here's a Mushu pork. You can eat it in Dina's death chair. Pull up a death chair and have some Chinese. Oh, Lauren. Lauren is always right there to encourage Jack's love life and to wind up his already overwound romanticism. Add to that, Jack found one of Harrison's little toy army men left over at the mansion. He started feeling alone. He felt sad that he was left alone in this big old house. So Phyllis stops by late one night. Ooh, late night at the Abbott house. I loved that. The lights were low. Everything was a little bit blue. Jack and Phyllis had had a couple of drinks. They start to talk very deeply about life, about the loneliness that Jack is feeling, and also saying some very profound philosophical things. Maybe the reason that we work so hard on relationships is because we all know innately that we are alone. We are born alone. We die alone, Phyllis said. But Jack doesn't want to be alone. He tells Phyllis the fact of the matter is he misses her. He still loves her. He always has. I love you truly, deeply. I can't stop it. It won't go away. It won't go away. Phyllis tried to play it off. She was telling Jack, no, you've had too much to drink, but he knows what he's saying is true. And now I think she knows what he's saying is true. So now what? Now what? Well, I think a poll is in order. I'd say let's put a poll on this. I mean, if there is ever a week to resurrect this old question, now is the time. Phick or Phack, chatters, were you convinced by that scene with Phyllis and Jack that maybe there could be a little something there? Or do you prefer the pairing of Nick and Phyllis? I mean, there's so many wonderful arguments in both directions, and therein lies a really great story. Would you rather see Phyllis continue the kind of, I don't know, lighthearted, fun, carefree vibe she's got going on with Nick? Or would you rather see Phyllis maybe settle down into something, I guess, arguably deeper love, a little more calm, a little more sable, maybe? I don't know. Go to yrchat.com. Let me know which you prefer, Phick or Phack. Get in your vote. While Phyllis and Jack are at the mansion, Nick and Sharon are at the coffee house, chopping it up. Yeah, Nick was the first one to tell Sharon that Adam is dating Sally, and I have to take a moment of appreciation for Sharon's classic deer in the headlights look. She took in the information, looked very shocked by it, and then played it off as if nothing happened, as if it couldn't matter less. But Nick and Sharon had this almost equally incredible open conversation to what Jack and Phyllis were having. But Nick and Sharon started out talking about the problem that Adam and his presence causes in Sharon's marriage to Ray, and also talking about why exactly Sharon can't let Adam go. She wants to be the one person who believes in Adam, even if no one in the world else does. And as for her relationship with Ray, well, making a relationship work can be a lot or a little about compromise. They called it settling. I don't know if that's exactly the right term, but settling is what they said. And the conversation shifted away from Sharon and Ray over to Nick and Phyllis. Does Nick like the way that Phyllis behaves? Does Nick like the relationship that still exists between Phyllis and Jack? Well, probably much like how Ray feels about Sharon and Adam. No, but he settles for it. Is that wrong? No, not necessarily, but yeah, sometimes. Very deep, very meaningful, so many questions on the table, and then Nick and Sharon just decide to close the coffee house together as they've done 100 times before. It's late at night. You gotta clean it up. I mean, they kind of both fell into this routine that they've been doing since the 90s. I mean, Nick and Sharon opened the coffee house together, and so here they are coming back a piece of their history. I mean, they just sort of work. I mean, your routines and the way that you function with someone matters too. But I was just very taken back by the intimacy of Nick and Sharon's conversation, the pensiveness on their faces as they cleaned the tables and flipped the chairs. And I didn't necessarily get a feeling that Nick and Sharon were wishing that things had worked out between them, like in their marriage. And in fact, there was a song playing in the background over the scene that kept repeating the word friends. So I took it as friendship. I felt it was more two people that have just known each other for decades, who know each other without reserve, and whose perspective kind of could help reset the other one's personal compass. You know, sometimes those are the best friends, the people you just known for so long, and they know you, and talking with them just helps reset your compass, you know, and to ask yourself the questions that need to be asked to make sure you're on track. Like, is my life what I want it to be? Am I with the partner who I should be with? Do I really need to refill these sugar shakers? I excel at having fun. That's a good line. Who said it? Well, of course you know who said it. It was Sally Spectra. Practically everybody knew it was Sally Spectra. Sandra, Henry, Michelle, Lynn, Victoria, Heather, Daisy, Doreen, Sam, Marianne V, Nancy, Jamie, Kirsten, Tommy, Juanita, Kathy, Sharita, and Jonathan. The list just kept going on. Everybody heard that line. Practically everybody got it right. Well done, group. Well done. Here's the next line that you can all get. I have a feeling you're going to get this one, but then again, I'm never right. But who said this? I'm here for the scintillating conversation. I like that word, scintillating. It's not spelled the way you would think it would be. It's therefore intriguing to me. I'm here for the scintillating conversation. Who said it? If you think you know, and you do, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. More importantly, I think I've got like 5 pages of comments this week. Let's start with this great one by Gary, who says, the new Jack Phyllis interplay makes sense and is nicely set up with Lonely Heart Phyllis wanting to make the connection to Lonely Heart Jack because she sees him as a kindred spirit in the same place as she with the exit of their children. I also remember how much Gina Tognoni did not want to lose Jack in the midst of her affair with Billy and tried so hard to get him back. I have to pause there, Gary, because you mentioned this last Sunday, too. I feel like I don't hardly even remember Gina Tognoni being with Jack, or Gina's Phyllis being with Jack. It's just so funny that the Michelle Stafford Phyllis is so much different. That this is a really great reminder. It feels like because we're looking at Michelle Stafford and Peter Bergman, and it's been a long time since those two actors have been together as a couple, it's easy to think that it's been a long time since Phyllis and Jack have been together. But you're mentioning that even when Gina was playing the role, they were together, and then I guess she must have had an affair, a little bit of an affair on him with Billy. I barely remember that. It's been a little while, but maybe not as far back as you think that Jack and Phyllis have even been together. That's a great pull. Gary also says, it will be interesting to see how far this thing goes, as I see Phyllis is completely in love with Nick. He's too cool with her for her to want to change partners. How will they work this? Or is this a storyline flirtation that Y&R will back down from? Y&R's history has Phyllis's greatest stories being bust-ups and changing partners from what her epic romances, similar to Sharon. Bust-ups and changing partners from what are her epic romances. Yeah, epic romances, definitely Sharon is similar. Those are the greatest stories. Yeah. But it is a good question. Is this just a tease? Is Y&R going to just take it to the edge? Just, maybe trying to make us ask the question for a couple of weeks and then we're going to pull it all back? Or does this signal a huge couple bust-up? It's a good question. Time will tell. Sharita says, Jack, why tell Phyllis what she already knows? Now it's going to be awkward. Aren't you allegedly friends with Nick? Your children are marrying each other. I think it's only going to take Nick saying or doing one thing that Phyllis doesn't like or agree with before she runs back into Jack's arms. Not because she loves him so much, but because unlike with Nick, she knows there are no conditions to Jack's love for her. Unless she sleeps with Billy again or cheats on Jack with Nick again. Please give Jack a true love that will appreciate him and want only him. This isn't Phyllis. I know. Again, I say it. It's like Phyllis may be the one for Jack, but I don't think Jack is the one for Phyllis. But I also really like your point here, Sharita. Why tell Phyllis what she already knows? Because, yeah, I think that Phyllis has known it. I think she knew it already, and I think that she was happy to let it feed her ego. I think she always kind of knew she had Jack in her back pocket, and I think she enjoyed it. And I think that Jack is going to wake up hungover the next day, and he's also going to realize that it was better left unsaid. But at the same time, isn't that so relatable? I mean, I think a lot of people have been on one end or the other of a drunken confession, either doing it or having to receive it. So that also kind of makes it realistic. Sue W says, I've also wondered why Nick loves Phyllis. And she loves him because he feeds her ego and sex drive? I'm kind of surprised that their current go-around has lasted as long as it has. Phyllis and Jack may share a deep bond since A, he delivered Summer, B, they both suffered from the Marco ridiculousness, C, they both have ebb and flow hate for Victor, and D, she helped Jack kick whatever addiction of his there was, and maybe other stuff I can't remember. But what do Phyllis and Nick share besides amazing sex and a passion for video games? Oh yeah, Summer, but of course, in Genoa City, a child is never much cause to stay together. Oh, hey, that's interesting, because there was that little moment when Phyllis walked in, she saw that Jack was drinking, and she did sort of lightly kind of allude to, you just drinking? Is there anything else going on here? That was good, and that was subtle. You picked up on that, because that was subtle. It wasn't said. You have to know the show to have recognized that moment, so that's really good, but it's a good question. Why does Phyllis want Nick? Yeah, I think it's the sex. I also think, I feel like there's a conquest thing with Nick. I feel like Phyllis has always thought that at any moment Nick could leave her. And so she is always going to be desperately trying to kind of cling on to him. At any moment he could go back to Sharon, or he could find another lady. I think there's something about Nick that she feels she needs to have, but she already has Jack. You know what I mean? It's kind of classic in human nature. You want that thing that you can't have, and the thing that you know you got in your back pocket is just not as shiny. Yeah, great comment. Let's see here. Gary says, Nick and Phyllis are amusing because they aren't alike. They don't share the same value system too much, and Nick gets judgy. But at this point, he just throws in the towel to enjoy his life and go with the flow of Phyllis. What's he gonna do? Yeah, see, I think I like that about it. I think I like that about Nick and Phyllis, and this is very great too. It's like Nick and Phyllis are not that similar. They're very different people, and Nick just kind of goes with the flow of her craziness, and I guess I like that. You think that Nick is more judgy than Jack, though? I mean, I think whoever made the point that maybe it was Sharita here, that Jack's love of Phyllis is unconditional, and she kind of knows that, but it's not. I mean, there's definitely things that Phyllis could do that could turn Jack away. I think Jack would still wouldn't let her get away with absolutely anything, but I think Phyllis gets away maybe more with Nick. Don't you think Jack's maybe the judgy one? Would be the judgy one? I don't know. Phyllis is the wild card. And, we had that scene a couple weeks ago where we had a Who Said It quote from it. Nick and Jack were both commenting on reckless abandon being intoxicating. And that is what Phyllis is. Phyllis is the wild card character, and it's just, who's going to be the one to have to lasso her in? Who's going to be the man who has to lasso her in? Same as with Billy. Sue W says, I've always thought that Nick and Sharon were destined to always end up back together, and then one day succeed Victor and Nikki's endless love throne. The foundation for that was laid long before Adam appeared, but since he did, I'm not really sure anymore where Sharon's heart truly lies. Not sure that she knows either, but I'm pretty sure it's getting restless, or has always been, with Ray. Ooh, Sue. Okay, couple good points here. Yeah, I agree. I've always thought Nick and Sharon to the end of time, but it just didn't start looking that way after a while. Yeah, it just seemed like it was not in the cards. But the larger point that you're making that I think is so fantastic is, where does Sharon's heart truly lie? Do you know? Because I don't. I don't know that she does. This is so true. Does Sharon love Nick? Does Sharon love Adam? Does Sharon love Ray? I mean, I guess she loves them all in different ways and has a hard time choosing. That's sort of who Sharon is. She is sort of the romantic, isn't she? She's very romantic. She's always kind of gone from man to man. She does kind of remind me of Brooke on Bold and the Beautiful, since that's in my mind for some reason right now. But yeah, Sharon loves love. And she's had many loves, and she will probably continue to have many more loves in the future. Tina Cole says, major couple switch up is on the way. This does not look good for Ray. He is the last Rosales in town and might be out the door. Gosh, we've been predicting that Ray would go out the door for a while now, and he is still sticking around. I would love to see Ray stick around. I think maybe he just, I mean, if the things aren't going to work out with he and Sharon, which by all rights I don't know. I didn't get the impression that Nick and Sharon were longing for one another. I think that Adam is always going to be a problem for Sharon and Ray as long as they let it be. But it does seem like maybe Adam kind of is moving on now. I don't think it's necessarily a slam dunk that Ray and Sharon are going to break up. And I don't know that it's necessarily a slam dunk that Ray is going to be leaving the show. If they do break up, I think we could find another lady to pair him with. Let's switch the topic though. Ellen says, I know Mariah was traumatized, but why would Stitch have any interest in coming after her again now that she's no longer pregnant with Abby's baby? Zooperplex answers that by saying it isn't just Stitch. Mariah is channeling her separation anxiety through an overwhelming fear of being trapped yet again by Stitch. It's her way of expressing separation anxiety without drawing attention to the fact that it all has to do with Dominic/Bowie, because she knows consciously that there's nothing she can do to reserve the current situation. Yeah, maybe like a subconscious separation anxiety. Yeah, that's where she's putting the focus, when we all kind of know subconsciously that it's really all about Dominic. But Sherrod says somebody should just tell Mariah that Stitch was not after her personally, and it was actually about Abby and the baby, and that she's no longer relevant to Stitch. Mariah needs to be told this. Oh, Sherrod, I mean, I guess, so Mariah doesn't know that? I don't know why that didn't click with me before. Nobody really told Mariah that it was about Abby and the baby? Nobody's had that conversation with her yet? That's crazy. Maybe that's next week, because we saw the previews. Mariah is definitely freaking out about the idea that Stitch could be coming for her again, so surely Abby's going to have that conversation with Mariah, right? And you know, that could definitely cause some more drama between them. If Abby sits down and says, hey, I gotta tell you, this was about me, sorry, Mariah's gonna be mad. And Mariah could even think, wait a minute, is the baby in danger? Because if Stitch wants you and you've got the baby, is the baby in danger and maybe he should be with me? That could be. Diana says, I don't know how realistic it is that Mariah went for a walk alone with the baby after having been kidnapped off the street and held hostage for 3 weeks. Especially knowing that Stitch is unstable and still on the run. She would be traumatized after that ordeal. We saw Mariah having nightmares in the hospital because of this traumatic event. Yes, there's security, but she's still on her own. She must have been looking over her shoulder the entire time. Yeah, it's this interesting. Henry says, Diana, I don't believe Mariah went for a walk. I believe she was out somewhere in seclusion breastfeeding Dominic. Of course, the surrogacy agreement prohibits this. I hope I'm wrong, but given what she's been through, kidnapped, I wouldn't be surprised if she's been pushed over the edge. Henry thinks that Mariah was secretly breastfeeding Dominic, and that occurred to me too. I did have the same thought. I don't think so. Ultimately, I thought, why did Y&R say that? I mean, well, it's not totally unreasonable to think it. I mean, Y&R tossed it out there as a term of the contract, and all the fans are thinking, well, what's going to happen to blow up this contract and start the real feud, the real drama over this baby? And that's the one thing that we know was in the contract. So yeah, that occurred to me too. But then as the episode went on, I figured, maybe not. Maybe it's just, it really was what Mariah said it was. But ooh, wouldn't that be a twist if we found that out? Abby would be mad. Sharita says, Abby annoyed me all this week. Her overreacting to Mariah around the baby and her commenting that she was gone with the baby for weeks the last time, as if Mariah wanted to get kidnapped. Also, it would seem, after all that happened, that Abby would not only have security guards, but security cameras at the Chance Manch and on the grounds that could have spotted her. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that Abby was an annoyance to you. You thought she overreacted. Sharita goes on to say, I think Abby is being knowingly insensitive to both Devon and Mariah, wanting them for emotional support, breast milk, and quick babysitting, yet not wanting the baby to truly bond with anyone but her. What happened to the "our baby and we will all be a family" cheer that she pushed when she manipulated her friends into this ultimate sacrifice for her and Chance's love? I feel very team Mariah and Devon. Ooh, burn, Sharita. That's pretty good. That's a pretty darn good perspective. I will say, I got to give you an alternate perspective from Sue W. here, who says, I feel sorry for Abby. Granted, she can be self-absorbed, but she had set out with an open heart and good intent when pursuing her and Chance's dream to start their family. Abby was genuinely vested in the emotions and hopes of all involved in the surrogacy, especially Mariah and Devon's. Abby also wanted arrangements that would please everyone once the baby would be born. Abby took everyone at face value, that they would honor his or her words and contracts. She also took Stitch's return and concern at face value as well. Some may say that's entitlement in and of itself, the thought that nobody could possibly lie or betray me. I just say it's been incredibly sad for what should have been an incredibly joyous time for Abby, and it looks to be increasingly worrisome. Yeah, I guess I don't... I agree Abby is selfish, but I don't think she had bad intentions. But I can't see the argument that she is awfully entitled and selfish. I do also have a little bit of empathy for Abby being partnerless right now. I think Abby started out all of this thinking that Chance would be right back. But I don't think she ever thought for 1 second that he would still be gone. I don't think she ever thought for 1 second that that any of this would turn out the way that it has. I mean, and that was something that we all knew right from the start. Like, hey, this is great with all your contracts and all of your good wishes and all of your good intentions, but we all knew it was not going to turn out any way that anybody wanted it to, and it didn't. Ugh, Jana says, Chance is now even deeper undercover. How much more undercover can he get without being dead? And Jamie replies, dead. Yes, you cannot go any more undercover than dead. And part of me just wishes he would just go there. 6 feet undercover. Oh, but the poll, majority of you said, no, I don't want him dead. 58%, bring him back. Only 42% said get rid of him. Marianne V said, I voted Chance back. He has missed so much already. If they need to recast, that's okay. But there's plenty of action for Chance. He can work with Ray. He could have a conflict with Devon and Mariah, wanting to have more involvement with the baby. And most of all, Abby needs him. She's been through all of this alone. Jana says, I wouldn't mind a short stint with a new Chance, but I'm hoping for nothing long term, if he shows up at all. Abby and Chance endlessly telling each other how happy they are was boring last year, and I'm not interested in seeing a repeat. Michelle says, if only for Nina's sake, bring some iteration of Chance back. John Driscoll would be fine by me. Oh, Michelle, yeah, John Driscoll. I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good solution to the Chance problem that we all know is here that for some reason they refuse to address. Go back to one of the other Chances. That way we don't have to feel bad and get used to a new Chance. We're just going back to the Chance we had before. That would be a perfect solution. Or killing him. That would work real quickly, too. Oh, Gary says, I'm voting to bring Chance back as Devon is settling in as the baby's father is boring. But the bigger question is, when is the time right for Chance to reappear? 5 months from now when Devon is sitting in the Chancellor living room in a quilted smoking jacket smoking a pipe? That's a good question, though. Okay, if the majority of Y&R chatters want Chance back, when's the right time to bring him back? Yeah, I mean, as right as Devon's getting comfortable, that's a good as guess as any. Sandra says, the thing is, Allie, if Y&R gets rid of Chance by way of presumed dead, not actually dead, when the time comes, would Abby tell the baby Dominic that Chance was his father? Or would Abby tell baby Dominic that Devon is his father and that Chance was her husband? I mean, right, like, Chance is Dominic's father, but he's not, he's never met him, he doesn't have any connection here. Like, if Chance is coming back, he better come back soon and start bonding with his son. Before Devon sweeps in there, because you know he wants to. That's the interesting thing. It's like there's no competition for Devon. So Devon could be over there every day hanging out with this kid, but he's having to emotionally reserve himself, physically reserve himself, and also repress the resentment of the fact that this kid deserves a father and he's not here, and it probably makes him want to jump in and be a father even more. Yeah, both Devon and Mariah are in very unique situations. Diana says it's good that Devon reminded us why he wanted to be the sperm donor. It wasn't just because Abby's his friend, but also because he and Chance are like family. He wanted to keep the baby in their bloodline. I wouldn't have made that connection if Devon had not mentioned that to Lily. Yeah, I never thought of that either. Is that the first time he's mentioned that? Oh, yeah, because I heard him say it, but I don't even know that he brought that up when he was considering being the sperm donor. Victoria says, I enjoyed the conversation between Devon and Lily. Devon told Lily the events of Dominic's birth. Lily supported him, but questioned the shift that she noticed in him. And during Devon's response, you could see Neil looking over his shoulder. We miss you, Neil. I did notice that too. It was like the whole time Devon and Lily were having that conversation, we had the portrait of Neil in the background. And even though Devon was talking more about being a father in terms of the child he lost with Hillary, there was also that non-vocalized element of Devon wanting to be a good father because of the good father that he had. Yeah. Oh my goodness, 2 more pages of you guys' comments. Let's switch over to a different topic. Victoria says, Dr. Nate may be handsome and intelligent, but he cannot tell a story. He was putting his companions to sleep, especially after beginning with the detailed explanations of medical procedures and products. A sure snooze fest. Yeah, I didn't hear anything he was saying. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't pay attention to a dang word that comes out of his mouth, Victoria. Oh, I start falling asleep, but for a totally different reason. Y&R Viewer 123 says, I loved Victoria, Ashland, Elena, and Nate's conversation at Society. Y&R should do that more often, as long as it holds details related to major storylines. Yeah, I liked it too. It was unexpected and casual and fun. Ellen says, I heard an interview with Sean Dominic, who plays Nate, and he can sing. So just saying, on top of being an actor, basically a model, he also can sing. Like, is there anything that this man can't do? I guess tell a joke, right, Victoria? But I thought he was really funny, and I think he's funny. And I thought the line where he was telling Elena, there was no more pasta in Italy. I ate all the pasta in Italy. I just thought that was really funny. I thought he had a good delivery. His face was real cute when he said it. I screen capped it. In my mind, he is just, he's everything. And he uses a coaster. Oh. Well, Jamie says, I would love to see Nate figure out Ashland's fakery and calmly, covertly go to Victor with his evidence of the cancer ruse. It's a perfect conclusion that would include Victor teaming up with Victoria for a big soapy bust in Italy. She could keep up the jig of planning the wedding and doting on Ashland right up into the vows, and then boom, in a similar way that Sharon did to Nick a few years back, only bigger and at the freaking Newman Palazzo, no less. Oh, Jamie, there's so much I can dig into here. Okay, first of all, you might have just hit it. You might have just hit why Nate is now suddenly pulled into the Ashland story. Nate is going to be the one who can identify that Ashland's not really sick. But he just I know he doesn't look sick, but he's having all of these moments by himself where no one's watching him, where he seems like he's out of breath. And the whole incident at the coffee house, he didn't know Nate was going to come walking around the corner. There's so many moments where Ashland is alone and seems to be struggling that it just seems hard to believe that he's faking it. But this is a really good point, Jamie, that the reason Nate could be here is because he could be the one to figure out that the medical part is a lie. Love your idea about Victoria teaming up with Victor to give us this whole end game and a big egg all over Ashland's face that his plan didn't work out. But the other thing is, I mean, the bigger this wedding gets, the more people keep talking about it, the more I keep thinking, are we actually gonna get it? Do you actually think we'll get to see a Newman Palazzo? Do you think, are we actually gonna get a wedding? Whether we go through with it or not, do you even think we'll get to the wedding day? I hope so. I really hope so. But Leslie says, Ashland has no friends or family at all. That's a huge red flag. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, I guess so. I guess that is a red flag, isn't it? Oh, let's talk about that portrait. Ellen says the portrait of Victoria was a boss move. Ashland is savvy. Ooh, yeah. And Superplex says, that's right, Ashland. Butter her up for the big fall and possibly the murder. Yeah, I know, it was. He was definitely boosting up Victoria's ego there. I thought it was sweet. I'm trying my best to read everything at face value, but if it's not face value, you're right. He was definitely boosting her up. A boss move. Sharita says, I don't think Victoria's portrait looks as good as Victor's. Maybe because it feels like it was done from a photograph, and Victor's seems like he sat with the artist for hours so that the painter could truly capture the man, the myth, the mystery, Victor Newman. Yeah, what'd you guys think about the portrait? Is it good? Does it look like Victoria? I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like whoever did it, took it from her intro. I know it's weird, but it almost just looks like she's giving the exact same face, exact same expression that she gives in her intro for the show, and then maybe they just popped a floral blouse on her. Overall, I think it's, it's good. I thought it was all right. Daisy says the portrait that Ashland gave Victoria will be all that's left after he steals her company right out from under her eyes. Although, when she finds out he deceived her, she might just hit him over the head with it. Ooh! Yeah, I thought that too. That big old portrait has got to come in handy for crushing sometime. At some point, we got to destroy the portrait. It would be pretty good if it was Victoria, like picking it up and smashing it right over his head. T. Nicole says, I'm just gonna say it. I'm getting bored of Lily and Billy together. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy them as a couple pairing. When they first got together, I liked it. But there's nothing exciting happening between them. All we see is Billy digging up info on Ashland and then Lily telling him to let it go and leave Victoria and Ashland alone. Round and round we go. I need more than Billy and Lily talking about reporters, information for a story, or researching info on Ashland. Let's see them with the kids, or get into Lily becoming a mother figure in their lives. Yeah, man, that's right. There has to be more to Lily and Billy's relationship than just her scolding him for his investigation on Victoria and Ashland. Good point. Well, Daisy says, I'm already tired of Sally. I don't like that she doesn't take responsibility for hurting others. She'll do it again. But I'm wondering if they have her trying to get close to Adam for part of Chelsea's return story. I don't think Chelsea's healed. So I wouldn't be surprised if she does something to get back at Adam for hurting her and anyone in Adam's life that he could move on with. Is a darn good point, Daisy. Maybe the real idea here between Adam and Sally for their relationship, aside, for the passions and the love makings and all that's going on, is the fact that it needs to be tied into Chelsea's return. Melissa Claire Egan is away on her maternity leave now, but that's not going to last forever. She's probably going to be back a couple months from now. And when Chelsea does come back into town, how settled into a relationship or romance or even just a fling will Adam and Sally be? Good question. T. Nicole says, be careful, Victor. By telling Adam your disapproval of Sally, you may make her even more tempting and exciting to Adam. She is now forbidden fruit. Exactly. Forbidden fruit. Red forbidden fruit. Maybe a little bitter. Leslie says, so the bartender at Society, who I never noticed before, has 2 lines 2 days in 1 week. Has lines 2 days in 1 week. Yeah, that bartender just jumped out of nowhere, didn't he? Ellen says they probably wanted to avoid the Crystal/woman in the green dress nonsense, so they gave this guy lines right away. Maybe the fans will figure out that he's wearing a bartender's uniform all by themselves this time. Yeah, that bartender. Y&R viewer 123 says, Sally sharing her life with the bartender was kind of weird. See, I think it's indicative of the fact that Sally has no one. It's the same problem that Y&R had writing her character that we were talking about months ago. She doesn't have a single friend or a single person that she can have, the exposition with. She has to talk to the bartender. She has exactly one friend now, and it's Adam, and that's it. And Chloe's not even really a friend. Chloe just yaps at her 24/7. So there's nobody Sally can talk to. Y&R has made the mistake of isolating her when they didn't have to. But Y&R viewer 123 also says, I don't like what CBS did with their eye logo. Oh my goodness. I thought maybe this happened a while ago and I just didn't notice it. Did everybody notice that CBS has changed their logo on the screen? Like, you're watching Y&R. Normally, this is how it was for me anyway. Normally, it was on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. It was a pretty big eye, the CBS eye. But it moved to the lower left-hand side of the screen, and it's much more tiny now. I actually preferred it because it gets less intrusive on my screen capping. It was a tinier little logo that helps my pictures that I'm getting be more visible. But yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I thought it must have happened a while ago and I didn't notice it, but maybe everyone else did too. Oh, let's end on this from Ellen. Is anyone else planning to buy the Sally Spectra running gear collection for their next jog through the park? I'm sure I would look awesome in those skin-tight Wonder Woman outfits if I could figure out how to get them on without dislocating a hip or a shoulder or both. Sally's workout gear. Oh man, yeah, she's had some interesting ones. I kind of like the black and tan one that she had on this week, but the other one that she had on a couple weeks ago where she looked like a superhero woman was pretty crazy. But yeah, I think I'm kind of for Y&R showing us this cool athletic wear. I think that Gloria needs to get on top of this for JCV before Sally beats her to the punch and needs to develop the athletic wear line for someone, for herself. And also, by the way, when are we going to get to see Sally's dress that she's designing for Victoria? You got to tell me that she's a designer. You got to show me the dress. You're showing me all the athletic wear. Thanks so very much. I got to see the wedding dress. Will we even see the wedding? That's the question. Are we going to see the dress? Are we going to see the wedding? That's the anticipation. I guess that's the fun part, right? Oh, well, that's it. That is our Y&R chat for the week. Full chat. How about that? Video, audio, comments. What'd I say? 5 pages of them. Wow, look at me. Really pulling it all together. I thought this week was going to be way harder than it was. I thought everything was going to take way longer than it did. I told you last week I had some windows replaced in the house, and it was 2 days, and I thought it was going to be messy and I thought it was going to be chaos, and it actually turned out to be not that bad. It wasn't great, don't get me wrong. I mean, having contractors in your house for 2 days, messing up my Y&R signal. It wasn't perfect, but I mean, I think it was better than I expected. I had the roof replaced last year at around this time, and man, it was supposed to be a 1-day job. It was a 1-month job at the end of it all. It went from 1 day to 1 month, cost way more than I thought it was going to, and I was just bracing myself for the windows being exactly that. And it wasn't, there was definitely some hitches, but it still got done in the right amount of time for the same amount of money, so it made me happy, and I got everything cleaned up and restored, and I felt like, hey, let's do a Y&R chat today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you go to the website, yrchat.com, vote in that Phick or Phack poll. This is fun. I can't believe we're even getting to talk about this again. Cannot wait to see what you guys vote and say on that one. Get that quote right. You know you want to. And just leave your comments about the show throughout the week, because I will be reading them. I will be responding to them. And I will be having a good time watching the show next week, too. I love you guys. I hope you have a really great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Okay? Okay.